You're listening to the Ramblin' Matt Ramage podcast.
Let's go!
What is up, Ben? I'm here with my dude, Ben, known as the Green Bay guy on all the interwebs. That intro seemed very, very loud to me. I don't know if it was loud to you.
No, it was fine. It was fine. I was impressed, actually. You've came a long way since you and I sitting in your basement trying to set up your first microphone. Shit, was that 2 years ago?
Yeah,
that 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was actually 3 years ago, like when I very first started. And dude, I wouldn't have even started podcasting probably if it wasn't for you. Like, you're the one that gave me that idea. Like you should have a podcast.
Yeah, I'm impressed with that, man. This is a legit setup. I like it.
Yeah, it's so much different. Like, I remember setting up my podcast, and I would take my wife's phone and I would set it up to make video. So I would have video to like post on social media. Now we're live on Facebook, like Twitter, everywhere. But yeah, dude. I appreciate you coming on. Very short notice.
That's all right. I'm glad to be here. Finally, our schedules aligned. I know you text me periodically about doing it, and my schedule sucks. I always suck at planning things, and I'm glad it worked out, man. I know you're a little Hollywood now, so I'm honored to be on here.
Yeah, you're the Hollywood.
I don't know about that. I don't know. You froze on my screen for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think we both froze on my screen.
Oh yeah,
we're back.
We're back.
Yeah, I think my Wi-Fi is being sketchy. I even have it plugged in. But anyways, we'll get right to this stuff. Hey, everyone who's joining, appreciate you tuning in. We're gonna talk about some Packers. I got some stuff I want to talk about, but first I wanna give a little shout out to someone real quick. See if I can find it here. This right here is Big B. He's a podcaster. They have the Underage Packers podcast, I believe it's called. He announced on Twitter that he has cancer. He said that everything is going good. The doctors are liking what they're seeing. But I want to give a huge shout to him. I was a guest on their podcast. They're young kids. They do such a great job. So everyone go check out the Underage Packers podcast. And I'm really hoping that he bounces back, full recovery, and everything is good. So big shout out to him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it was after you were on their stuff. I crept on some of their stuff, and the amount of effort and time they put into their content is commendable for sure. I mean, that's super cool to me to see, because I think they're 14, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's super cool to me to see kids like that are putting in so much time and energy and dedication to a passion. It's really awesome to see, and hopefully Big B bounces back pretty quickly and better than ever.
Yeah, I think he will. Like the way that from what I was hearing, that it's looking good. Doctors, I like what they're saying or
good
what they're seeing. But I just want to give a quick shout out to him. But anyways, now let's move along. We're gonna talk about some Packers. Like one thing I want to start doing on this, because I get some people mad sometimes during the week. So,
no,
like,
you?
Yeah.
I don't know how, man.
The stuff I post, like I love Facebook. Like, I know everyone dogs Facebook, but I like my public page, like Talking Football, all the football people, because everyone has so much different opinions. So what I'm gonna start doing is screenshotting some of the posts I make.
Before you do, can I give a shout out to someone here real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
My dude Jared Follensby. I used to work with him way back in the day at Arby's. I see he commented. Jared's my boy. Shout out to you, Jared.
Hey,
yeah, right there, man. Love that guy. Haven't seen him in forever. Hyped to see him in the chat.
All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. But yeah, it's funny to me, the people that tune in that I see that I went to school with that I really don't talk to, but they like follow me, and it is kind of funny to me. All right, so first of all, I'm gonna talk about this injury report real quick, because a lot of people are asking me about injuries. I think most of the guys are coming back. It looks like Alexander, he was out, but I'm trying to read this. It's far away because I got a little TV here. But I think David Bakhtiari is going to be coming back. I think a lot of guys are going to be coming back. I don't know for sure. Everyone's asked me about Lazard.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's coming back, but he's still on IR, so he's not on the report. But he's been practicing, so I don't know. I always try to tell because people ask me stuff like, dude, I am not a reporter. I just get my I get my stuff from Twitter.
Yeah. Which, yeah, it's one of those things. So the Jaguars are what, 1-7? Do you rush these guys back if you don't need to?
Yeah, and you don't, because I think the Packers, they're going to have Aaron Jones. They're going to have Jamal Williams. So the running game is going to be there. Like, I don't think – I would not rush anyone back that is not ready. If Lazard isn't ready completely, you let him sit.
Yeah, at least, one, because it has to be next week they bring him back no matter what, right? Him and Kirksey, because of the fact that they have 3 weeks to bring him off the IR from the time they put him on. I just, if you don't need him, and the Packers medical staff has never been one to rush a player back. So I don't think they're going to rush anyone back. They're going to make sure they're 110% healthy. But it's an AFC team that's 1-7. It's at Lambeau. God forbid if you ended up losing that game, at least it's an AFC team, and it's not going to hinder your playoffs as much because it's an AFC team compared to an NFC team.
Yeah. I think I don't like to say first of all, shout out to Joey the Jaguar. That's Big B's podcast partner.
All right.
I talked to Big B earlier, just so you know, Joey, and I'm gonna have both you guys on as soon as he gets healthy. You guys are gonna teach me some stuff how to podcast.
I gotta actually follow them. I am so bad at following people on social media. Like I don't even though I have like the social media pages and stuff, I hardly use it anymore. I just don't enjoy social media. So I see their stuff and I don't follow anyone. I suck at following people back. So after this, Matt, you gotta let me know where I can find these guys, or maybe say it on here so I can go over and find them and follow them.
Yeah, for sure. So now I want to talk about this one right here. Devonta Adams, early in the week, everyone was giving him grief because he said he's the best quarterback in the league. And he said he wasn't trying to be Muhammad Ali when he said he thought he was the best wide receiver in the league. He said he believes it, but doesn't think that's unique. I expect every receiver in the league who's in that discussion to say that. So, that is exactly that. Dude, I was saying that because I saw a lot of people were talking about, oh, that's conceited and that's arrogant. Dude, if you don't think that, then you'll never be that. If you're in that discussion, I doubt, the third string wide receiver for the Jaguars is saying that, But, if you're in that discussion, if you're the top 5-10 guys, obviously you believe that because that's what you're striving for. And why wouldn't Devonta Adams believe that?
It's literally, can I swear on this?
I don't care.
Okay, it's literally the dumbest shit ever. The fact that they're making such a big deal out of this. How many players come into it, even third stringers that think that they're the best in their position on that team. And I think you have to have that ego in order to be successful in the NFL. Because if you're just I'm on the team, but I'm not good. Okay, why are you even here?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm not good at my job, but I still show up. But that's different. I don't get paid a lot, But I think every player that's on the field comes from being the elite player in their school that they went to, whether it was high school or college, because to get to the NFL, you have to be pretty damn good. So I think that ego is naturally there, that they're going to be the greatest or a top player, if you will. And then when you're the big dog in the NFL, of course you're in that conversation. Like you said, if you're the top 3 wide receiver and you're not 2 or 3, yeah, you're able to say that no problem.
Yeah, and I was saying, because people were like, no, I think it's Michael Thomas, or I think it's this player or that player. I was like, fine. Dude, I don't care what people think. I think it's Devonta Adams, but I'm biased. I'm a Packer fan. But you could name 3-4 guys off, and I'm not going to argue with you. I don't care if Devonta Adams is balling out. That's all I care about. I don't care how he's ranked, how people think, and all that. But there's no receiver in the league I would take over Devonta Adams, where he is right now. Dude, he's peaked. This is we got a really good wide receiver for a long time.
Yeah,
I mean, hopefully.
You hope so, right? And what I love about Devonta is 2017 when Rodgers goes down, breaks his collarbone, and you have Brett Hundley, who didn't pan out the way obviously any of us wanted him to, but Devonta was still putting up numbers and still doing big things. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was either in the Pro Bowl that year or had Pro Bowl conversations that year with having Hundley as his quarterback. And that was the year Jordy Nelson really fell off, if you remember. And everyone was blaming Hundley for the fact that Jordy Nelson got cut when Devonta put up numbers no problem. So, I just think it goes to show that how good he is at getting open, how good he is at catching the ball. Look at that 4th and 1 pass last week where his glove is literally getting ripped off because he's getting held so bad by the defense and he still catches it. The dude catches everything.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying to someone is that because he was like, well, he has a great quarterback and this and that. But I was like, dude, like he did do it with Hundley when Rodgers was hurt, and even I think that year, I don't know if that was the year they were cycling through quarterbacks. No, I think that was before Devonta. But yeah, I know that he did because he had some kind of streak of a certain amount of touchdowns. I think he was like leading the league, and a couple of those years was without Rodgers or without Rodgers partial years. So like Devonta is the real deal. Like nobody can say that it's like the quarterback. It's it's both. It doesn't hurt. I always think it's funny because that argument that Rodgers isn't that good anymore, but he's got Devonta Adams, and then the same people will say Devonta Adams isn't number one, but he's got Aaron Rodgers. Like, well, which one is it?
Right, exactly. They both feed off each other, which is nice to see. And I think that's where we're very spoiled as Packer fans, and how many years of great football we've got to witness. And you hope that there's many more with Jordan Love coming up behind it, but we're definitely spoiled in that regards that we have arguably one of the best receivers in our team and arguably one of the best quarterbacks as well. It makes it for a fun Thursdays, Sundays, Mondays, and periodic Saturdays in the playoffs.
Yeah, and even running backs like Aaron Jones, like I wouldn't say he's the best because you got to give a lot. There's a lot of guys doing it, but Aaron Jones is, he's as good as a lot of these guys at the top of his game. But Packers they have some good key players.
Mm-hmm. Tough part with Aaron Jones is he's on his last year of his contract, and I'm sure you've talked about that on this before. And realistically, I don't know if they re-sign him because of where they're at financially, and you got to sign Bakhtiari, which I think is probably a bigger need than Jones personally. What are your thoughts on that? If you were GM right now, would you rather sign Bakhtiari or would you rather sign Jones?
See, that is, I'm glad I don't have that job because Bakhtiari hasn't been playing and they've been doing all right, but I don't think let's say, oh, we don't need him.
You're right.
And like running backs are it's tough to pay running backs, especially top dollar, because a lot of guys just got paid. And you got Jamal Williams, who I think is very, very good.
It's his last year of his contract as well.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough for them to bring like all these guys back. This isn't Madden, like
yeah. But fans act like it though sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I really don't know. Like I don't know like what the right call is. Because I'm biased. Like as a Packer fan, like I'm passionate about these players. Like Aaron Jones is such a good dude, and he's such a good player.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. I love both of them. I hope Aaron Jones signs the richest contract in the AFC for a team that we never play, because if it were my job, I would never pay a running back top dollar, just because the trends show that it doesn't pay off. They get banged up quick. I love Aaron Jones. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, getting autographs or just talking with. But financially, I just don't think you can do it when you have Bakhtiari as a free agent as well.
Yeah, Bakhtiari is like a very key part. It's tough. And like the Aaron Jones, like you heard stories about him like carrying people's luggage in the airport. Like
you're right.
Yeah. So like I always think about that. Like that's Packer people. That's good people. Like he's good people. So but like people say, well, he should just take a pay cut. Like I would never ask a player to take a pay cut because I wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not taking a pay cut.
No, I wouldn't.
These players, one thing. Granted, it's millions of dollars, and I understand that argument of it, but their career isn't guaranteed. The average career in the NFL is 3.5 years. I'm not taking a pay cut for my company. If I'm worth the value, you're paying me what I'm worth. And When people get mad at Pat Mahomes for signing a 10-year, $500 million, it's because he's going to bring in far more than $500 million to that franchise over the next 10 years. And he's worth every penny, if not more. And if he's not making what he's supposed to be making, well, then it's just going into the owner's pocket even more. And if anyone needs the money, it's not the owner, it's more the players that need the money.
Yeah, and I get with like a lot of people say like Aaron Rodgers should take a pay cut like all those years ago, like even like when McCarthy was around. But if you take a pay cut, there's no guarantee that they're going to use that money to get you like what you want. Like
no.
So I don't know. I don't.
There's no loyalty in the NFL. If Rodgers takes a pay cut, hypothetically, he takes a pay cut, and he's doing it for the team, right? He's doing it because he's loyal to the Packers. Packers don't give a shit. They will cut him the moment that it's convenient for them.
Yeah, and that's
no loyalty.
the NFL. Yeah. Shout out to Mark.
Yeah, Mark. Hope you're doing well, man. Good to see you on here.
So here's another thing I wanted to bring up. Right?
I am not worth $1 million a year, by the way, Mark. Do not pay me that. Yeah. That is irresponsible.
I'm not worth it either, but I'll take it. I'll just take it one time payment. No, I want to talk about this real quick. Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, which I thought this was really interesting. The first 182 starts, they both won, 119 games? My eyes ain't good, but yeah.
Yeah, we already know that, man. You have to tell us that.
No, but like I didn't know that, and I think that's very interesting. But then when I posted that, and I seen a lot of NFL pages posted it, and a lot of people were like automatically making an opinion who's better. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, I hate Brett Favre. Brett Favre loyalist, and I hate Aaron Rodgers. I was like, dude, you can just love both of them. Like they're both great. And dude, the Packers, like how lucky they are. And I know everyone's gonna talk about, well, they only got 2 Super Bowl rings in that time. But like, dude, we got to witness, like since I was like 16 years old. Like I think about the time. No, it was before that. That's when they won a Super Bowl. But anyways, most of my life, since I was able to remember, Brett Favre, I gotta remember Don Mikowski, but I remember Brett Favre coming up. And then we had Aaron Rodgers. Like how lucky Packer fans are to like this run. And hopefully Aaron Rodgers gets another, maybe a couple. But dude, like you don't have to pick.
Yeah. I hate that the whole, 30 years of Hall of Fame quarterbacks and you only got 1 or 2 rings or 2 championships, 1 each. And it's like, well, yeah, clearly a win isn't a quarterback stat. When you have the 2011 Packers that can put up 45 points, but they're allowing 42 points every game. What can you do when there's no defense? Or, Favre had top 2 defenses, both Super Bowl years, and got 1 ring out of it. So it's just one of those things. It's a team game for a reason. And when you start paying quarterbacks big money, it's hard to stay competitive. Look at I think there's a stat. The last time a quarterback has won the Super Bowl while being paid premium money was 2009 and Drew Brees. Tom Brady's always taken a pay cut to try to get weapons around him. And he hasn't been paid premium money until his last year as a Patriot, where they didn't go to the Super Bowl. And now he's getting paid really good money. But all the last Super Bowl winners have all been guys that are the quarterbacks are on either their rookie contract or very, mediocre contract. So you have money to put pieces around them. And when you're paying guys a top money at quarterback, they're not winning the Super Bowl generally.
Oh yeah, because like Pat Mahomes, he just signed that big deal, and eventually those players, they have a good team, but some of those players are going to start disappearing when that cap room comes into play. Same with Aaron Rodgers. Like when we won the Super Bowl, that was I don't know the contract that he had then. But,
he had a very minor, so he wasn't on his rookie contract anymore. But so in 2008, his contract was coming up, and he hadn't even started yet. But they gave him a mediocre contract. I think it was over like 4 years or 3 or 4 years. And then when he won his Super Bowl, they signed him to a really large contract in 2011.
Yeah,
so he wasn't rookie, but he wasn't top tier money either.
Yeah, because once you pay him, it's tough because the defense comes into play. Because I posted this. I forget who said. Brandon Marshall said he would give Russell Wilson the MVP right now because he has one of the worst defenses in the history of the NFL. And I thought that was like the dumbest thing. A lot of people were like, he's not wrong. I'm like, dude, I don't care if he's right or wrong. But the point is, like, you don't get extra credit for having a bad defense.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers never did.
Well, you remember when Peyton Manning got hurt in 2011, right? He had his neck injury, and then the Colts went like 1-15, and everyone was basically, the media was trying to make the argument that he deserves the MVP because the team went from this good in 2010 to now 1-15 in 2011. So therefore, it automatically makes him the MVP. It seems like the same argument to me. Like, oh, his defense is shit, so he automatically gets the MVP because he's playing well. If anything, I think that makes it easier for you, because if your defense is just allowing points, well, then you're just hucking chucking to keep up with it. And their defense is gassed because the offense is scoring so quick. So you're just like always on the field. Very similar to 2011 Packers. The defense was horrendous. So Aaron Rodgers was throwing 500-600 yards. Well, probably not 600 yards. But he's throwing, 6 touchdowns, just huck and chucking the whole game because he had nothing else to do but throw the ball.
Yeah, and if you look at so many of the Packers, like that Cardinals game, that Rodgers didn't lose that game. Like, he had heroics at the end of Hail Mary and all that to get in overtime just to lose it. There's the onside kick. That game should have been won. There's so many games you could point to and blame the defense, but that's not how it is. It's like, you win or you lose.
Yeah, it's all on the quarterback's shoulders for sure.
Yeah, so that's why I had a problem, because I don't care if someone said Russell Wilson is the best in their opinion, which I don't agree with, because I like Russell Wilson. Because people get it twisted. Like, if I say I think Aaron Rodgers is better right now than this player, they're like, I don't like that guy. But I like Russell. He went to Wisconsin. I think he's a good dude. But like, he threw like a lot of interceptions, and like the defense didn't do that.
Yeah.
So it's like. And I get it, like, he's in trouble, so he's taking more risks or whatever. But and it's halfway through the season, so I really don't care what anyone thinks about the MVP anyways. It's just like talk. But I was surprised like how many people some people got mad and they're like, he's not wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Packer fans don't know what they're talking about football. This and that. I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, you don't get graded on a curve for MVP.
If that's the case, I feel like Rodgers should probably have a lot more MVPs because he's had some pretty bad defenses over the years.
Yeah, like for real. And a lot of quarterbacks have. I mean, Brady's always had like top-notch defenses.
Yeah.
No one like takes anything away from him because, well, his defense is great. So
do you not win MVPs then if you have a good defense?
I guess according to Brandon Marshall, I think some guys, like, I swear they're like me. They just turn on the camera, turn on the mic, and they just go. Like, I don't think Brandon Marshall really believes. I think he said that. I don't know. I can't imagine he believes that. Like, I could see him saying, I think Russell Wilson should win, but just a reason. Like, I've never heard anyone say before. He should be MVP. I think I could see he should get credit because, he's playing well in their defense. He's holding the team together and all that. But, like, to say he should win MVP because the defense sucks is just.
Yeah, there's so many other reasons that you could argue. Why focus on that aspect of it?
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing damn good football. You could argue it just for that sake.
Yeah.
He's playing good football.
He threw some picks, but yeah, that has something to do with the situations they're in and all that. Like, I don't.
Yeah. And you probably don't watch every snap of Seattle football. I certainly don't.
No, I don't.
How many have went off for receivers' hands and been because of that? So, like, stats are great, but they only tell a small part of the story. Rodgers usually has interceptions that are off of deflections.
Yeah, he doesn't have very many. He had like one this year that was just horrible. But David brings up a good point here about Marino. Never had, dude. No. I try to tell my kids about Dan Marino. Like, Dan Marino was like the original GOAT. Like, when I was a kid, everyone talked about Dan Marino was the best, even though he didn't have a ring. That was the thing. Like, he never won a championship, but he was the best until like other guys started coming. Like Joe Montana, like, pretty much took care of that. I mean, it was time, but Dan Marino was like highly respected as like one of the best quarterbacks, even if you didn't think he was the best. People always gave him respect until like recently when all these other great quarterbacks, I wouldn't say recently, but like recently for me, but like the last 20 years when all these guys started coming up. But Dan Marino, he does not get enough respect. Dan Marino is one of the greats. Yeah, he's like one of the most, like, a lot of receivers say, a lot of experts say he's like one of the best passers of all time. Like, yeah, he definitely.
In today's NFL, the amount of records he probably would have broke, because he broke a lot of records in an era where you could actually play defense. And now you can't play defense the same way. He would probably just be shattering records left and right if he played in today's era.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's a big thing too. Like with these rules, like they can't touch them now. Like back then, it wasn't quite as bad as like the '60s where they would just
pile drive you. Who cares?
Just punch in the throat as you're running past. But
did you see that video circulating around that showed like the NFL promo from like the '70s, and pretty much every clip in the promo is a penalty now? It was just like everything was just like super aggressive, and it was all like unnecessary roughness in today's game, which was so comical. Just that's what they broadcasted back in the '70s, late '70s.
And they were just good. That was good football. Like even if you watch that, I don't know, one year, I think it was during the Super Bowl. They were showing one of the '70s Super Bowls, the Steelers, and just that defense, like what they were doing, like everything was a flag. And I remember watching my kids, like they're like, they can't do that. I'm like, no, they could that. And
it's really interesting watching those old games. If there's a DVD set that I have, it's like the top 10 best Packer games of all time, and they're full games, which is really cool. But you go back and watch some of the like 80s and 90s, and you're like, holy shit, they're really hitting people, and they're helmet to helmets, and just no wonder the concussions were such an issue just watching some of those games.
Oh yeah, I feel like, dude, like they were almost trying to hurt people. Not even almost. Like they wanted you to remember their name.
Oh, big time, especially those safeties. I mean, some of those hard-hitting safeties, you throwing it up deep over the middle, like you're paying the piper if you're trying to come up with that. It was definitely interesting to watch. If anyone's wondering, go buy it, watch it, because it's pretty interesting to watch how different the game has been in 20 years.
Yeah, you can even go on YouTube and just watch like some clips from old games. Like Ray Nitschke would just
yeah.
He would throw people down like they were a pillow. He would just pick them up and yeah, he's all right. I want to talk about this real quick. So Aaron Rodgers, like in the media availability or whatever. Let's see if this is the right one. They were asking about Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator. He said, "I love him. I hope he doesn't go anywhere unless I do." But he had a big grin on his face, and I was gonna post that video, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to. But that brings up the question. First of all, he was kidding. I think Aaron Rodgers at this point is poking fun at the media.
Because, 100%.
Yeah, they turn everything. But I don't see Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people are talking about this lately. I don't see Aaron Rodgers going anywhere for a little bit yet. I think he'll be here next year and maybe even the year after. I don't know exactly what the cap is, but there's a huge cap hit, and he's not playing bad. Like
no.
The reason Aaron Rodgers stayed with the Packers is, first of all, the Brett Favre situation. It's not the same, but it's in some ways it is, because if Aaron Rodgers wasn't who he was in practice, and they didn't believe he was that dude, and they weren't like, oh man, this guy's got it, then they probably would have tried to talk Brett Favre into not retiring, instead of, I think they might have talked him into retiring. And I think it would the same thing like with Jordan Love. If Jordan Love is balling out and Aaron Rodgers is, even if he's playing well, but he's coming to the end, they might say, all right, we're gonna go with Jordan Love. But they're not gonna do that unless Jordan Love is making them think like he's a future and he's gonna have an Aaron Rodgers type career.
So in 2007, they tried trading Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders for Randy Moss. I think it was 2007.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. And
then so in 2007, maybe they didn't try. Maybe there's they're rumbling about potentially doing that or pulling the trigger on that trade. 2008. So when Brett Favre retired in 2007, there's a really good documentary on this called Last Day at Lambeau. If you Google it, you can find it, but they talk about it. So Brett Favre announces his retirement. They name Aaron Rodgers starter. And then like 2 weeks later, Brett Favre told the team he wanted to come back. And the Packers at that time welcomed him back as the starter. And then by the end of the week, he retired again. And at that point is when they drew the line in the sand that said, all right, we're not moving. We're moving forward with Rodgers no matter what this guy does, because we can't have this guy flip-flopping back and forth while we're scheming for the year. I say that because that makes me think that they'll probably do that with Rodgers as well. He does have a huge cap hit coming up, not next year, but the year after, I believe. So that could be that point where if he does stay a Packer, you're probably seeing that team get trimmed down in a lot of ways. I think Preston Smith is gone by that point. Adrian Amos is probably gone at that point. There's a lot of guys that are making money that will be gone because you have to make cap space somewhere. And next year, the cap space is going to get smaller because of the revenue dropping this year. So that's going to make it tight as well. So I think if Rodgers truly wants to stay and Rodgers says, hey, I'm planning on being quarterback until I'm 43 to 45, I think the Packers will do whatever they can to make it happen. But I think ultimately it's just going to be depending on what that conversation's like.
Yeah, and it depends like what goes on behind closed doors that we don't know. I think Rodgers is happy, seems happy as hell. But it has a lot to do with money. Like the cap space next year is going to be, like you mentioned, it's going to be ridiculous because it's shrinking a little bit. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a lot of players that are about to get paid, and a lot of guys that they just signed, like Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith. I don't know what their contracts are like, but they're getting paid. Then you got to re-sign D-Bach. I would fail on Madden if I was working with this team. I
started this year. So my friends and I do like a Madden weekend every year when the new Madden comes out, just as a excuse for us to hang out and play video games all weekend. But I started as the Packers, and the cap issues right away. I was like, no, fuck this. I'm not being the Packers this year. I usually am a bad team, but I usually have a Packers season as well. But they're gonna have some cap issues. Dean Lowry, I think, will end up having to get cut because his salary is pretty crazy for his production. But they better start hitting on some of the draft picks, that's for sure, because you can't pay talent right now. And I know people are all probably salty about this year's draft, but it is what it is. And I think the board fell to him that way. But yeah, it's pretty interesting, man. It's going to be a quite interesting situation to get themselves into here.
Yeah, because like the AJ Dillon signing kind of tells me that they're okay with one of these guys not coming back. Like I don't know, whichever one they decide. Both of them, you think?
Yeah, I think both will be gone. Jamal, you might be able to keep around because he'll be a lot more of a team friendly contract. But I think the writing on the wall is that Aaron Jones is gone, personally. But that just goes back to me saying that I wouldn't ever pay a running back premium money.
Yeah, well, I see this Viking fan chiming in, but I said that about the Vikings a couple years ago. Vikings had a really good defense. They paid Kirk Cousins, this average quarterback, $85 million. And
they're in the same situation as the Packers are. So I don't know what he's chirping about. I mean, they're in cap hell right now as well, and it's.
I think I trust the Packers office that they're gonna make decisions to stay competitive, because if they don't stay competitive, then Rodgers ain't gonna want to stick around. I think they will. But anyways, I want to focus on this year since we're becoming downers.
Right. I do want to call out. So I do see his chat about, have you seen Delvin Cook? And while that is a phenomenal argument, let me know how many playoff games Barry Sanders won. Because being a one-sided team or a one-dimensional ball club will win you some games, but it's not going to when it matters.
Yeah, I get the Vikings just won their Super Bowl. They got to beat the Packers, and they're all excited about it. So we let them talk.
They'll put that banner up. It'll be great.
Yeah, they will too. They'll like week 5, whatever week it was, beat the Packers. That's all they care about. So like I saw Mark just mention it here. You do a Madden preview.
God, it's terrible.
What do you do?
It's honestly, it's terrible. I ramble a lot. Some people ask questions, and I just play a game of Madden and answer questions. It's not great. I think I got like 6 people that watch it pretty consistently, so shout out to them. But yeah, I just something I did last year when my roommate Wade, when he was around more, him and I would just play a game of Madden and just talk about the upcoming week. Is just something to do. Well, he hasn't been around because of the pandemic. He's working remotely at his parents' house in Upper Peninsula, Michigan. So I just kept doing it by myself. But it's definitely much better when Wade's here, just because it's easier when you have 2 people rather than 1. But I just play a game of Madden and answer questions. And Mark asks questions every week. So he's one of the 6 that watches. So appreciate him.
Yeah, Mark's the man. I've watched a couple. I don't watch it consistently, but yeah, I like what you're doing. It's kind of the same thing as a podcast, but you're playing a game of Madden as you do it. I think it's an interesting thing to do.
Yeah, but a podcast is so much more structured.
Not this
well, that's because you got me on it. That's your own fault. But I felt like my podcasts when I did those were a lot more entertaining. Like I look back on those and I can still listen to them, and they're not god awful because the person who's on with me carries it. Where the Madden ones, they're more along the lines of just it's fun answering some questions and getting to know people, and yeah, it's just more for fun.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's all I do. I just have fun. Usually, like I'm sober on this one. I'm usually not sober. I usually have some drinks before I talk. Like the Packers post game show last week. Like I was drinking before the game started. And I made bad decisions that day.
I feel like you and I have had this conversation probably a dozen times. Where you're like, dude, I got to stop drinking so much while being live.
Yeah, so I was doing shots because someone like messaged me like, hey, do a shot with me. So I was like, all right, I'll do a shot. It was just weak stuff, I was drinking Doctor. So then someone else was like texting me, one of my friends, hey, we should do touchdown shots. I'm like, all right. Then touchdowns start rolling, and then I'm like, I gotta do a post game show. So I bring a bottle with me because now I'm just off doing bad decisions. So I had my buddy Alex Strofe on with me, and we're both drinking. So we get done. Probably a horrible show. I don't remember a lot of it. I'm upstairs on the second floor in my little office here. The steps are right outside my door. I hit the first step and all the way down the steps, right on my ass, all the way down the steps. My wife's giving me business. My son saw it and he's like, Dad was drunk. I was like, I didn't fall down the stairs drunk. I was drunk and happened to fall down the stairs.
There's no correlation.
No, that's a slippery stair. It's carpet. I was all right. But so with going back to this season, how do you see the Packers finishing up here?
So you got 2 against the Bears. You haven't even touched the Bears yet. Yeah, Lions. I think I said before the season that if you could go 5-3 or 6-2 for the first 8 games, that I think that'd be a success. Now I didn't know that the San Francisco would be playing practice squad players. So, I mean, doing 6-2 now is great. I'm very happy with where we're at. I would say 11-5 or 12-4 would be a phenomenal finish to the year, and I think that's going to put you in contention to be one of the, hopefully the number 1 seed and actually get a bye week. But it's hard to say with COVID and all the other things that are going on. But what about yourself? Where do you see this going?
I like this comment: 13-3, 14-2. Like going back to like the Vikings game, that was a bad loss, and everyone was down. Like, oh my God, this is turning for the worse, and this. And then they beat the Niners. And I understand that they were like basically a practice squad team. But you flip those games, if they beat the Vikings up and lose to the Niners, I don't think people are really feeling that bad about it.
Yeah, and I think I know you got whatever the guy's name is in here, but I think a lot of people think that the Vikings are a worse team than they actually are. They have a very good offense. They're banged up on defense, and they happen for their sake to catch us at a game where it was 45-mile-per-hour winds outside, and the Packers couldn't throw the ball. No one could really throw the ball well that whole game. The Vikings are a talented team. They've been banged up with injuries this year, and they've lost a lot of games. Well, look, they lost the Seattle Seahawks on a 4th down play in the 4th quarter, like the final play decided that game. They lost to the Colts in a close matchup. They lost. I mean, the Falcons blew them out, which makes no sense, but they've lost a lot of really close games where if that ball bounces the other way, they would probably be in contention for, right in the run of the division as well. So they have talent on their team. There's a reason why they, pay these guys so much money and why their team's the way it is. They just have injuries on defense that's hindering them.
Yeah, I think that Dalvin Cook obviously is ridiculous. I don't want to talk too good about him because he's here. Yeah. But no, he's good stuff. I had one bad llama. I think after the Vikings game, I was talking smack on Twitter, a little tipsy, and he was talking smack to me. So I was like, hey, you want to come on my live? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So he was on here, he had a llama head on. It was a whole thing. It was funny. He's actually a good guy. He's just he hates the Packers. I respect it. But because I love the rivalry. I love it. But yeah, I don't know. I think like what Herm Edwards used to always say, just get into the playoffs and see what happens. Like it seems like every year from the NFC, it seems like a team that gets hot. Like I don't think the Buccaneers are going to do anything in the playoffs. I think it's going to be a team like the Packers, Seahawks. I could even see if they stop turning the ball over and their defense is the same with the Packers. You know, the defenses have to step up. It's whoever's defense really steps up in the playoffs that is going to do something. But you just got to get hot at the right time. And the Packers, they're ending their schedule is not really insanely tough.
No, the first 8 were the hardest, in my opinion.
That's what I was saying about the Bears earlier when you know they were neck and neck with us. But I was like, look at their schedule, look at ours. Mm-hmm. They're going to start dropping off. And the Packers are going to start winning, and that's what happened. So I guess you could say I'm a genius.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking personally.
But what do you think about the Bears? Like, I think the Bears can be good. I don't think that they're consistent enough. Like, I don't think Nick Foles is the answer, and I think a lot of Bear fans want Mitch Trubisky back. I didn't watch this last game that they played. I watch as much of the Bears as I can because when they lose, I just love to tweet about it and like rub it in everyone's face, make videos. But I don't think the Bears are horrible, but they can be. I just keep hitting my faces. They can be at any given time, just throw an egg, and I don't know. The Bears suck.
Yeah, I think you asked the wrong person what I think about the Bears because I haven't watched a single snap of their football this whole year. So I have no idea, to be honest, how they are. I did see a highlight of them squeaking out a win against the Lions because the Lions player dropped the back shoulder throw. But outside of that, I haven't seen a single play that they've played all year.
Yeah, he says, I could play quarterback better than the Bears quarterback. That's true. Like,
yeah, Duke's got some that shuttle drill. He's got some quick feet there. I think he'd be the next Michael Vick or well, he actually loves his dog. So Lamar, is that a better representation?
Yeah, I actually do love me some Lamar Jackson too. But dude, yeah, I think the Bears. I don't think they don't have a quarterback that's functional. And once you turn away, like they benched Trubisky, went with Foles. I think you got to stick with it. And now Trubisky went in for like some kind of fluky play and ended up getting hurt. Like one play he went in and then he got hurt.
I saw that.
I don't laugh at injuries or root for injuries.
I do feel bad for Trubisky.
Well, yeah, he gets a lot of he doesn't get enough praise. I think he's actually like as a mobile quarterback. He can get out of some jams, but like I don't know. I'm not sure like if it's the offensive scheme, like what it is, because I hear a lot of Bear fans because I follow them on Instagram, and a lot of them complain about the play calling. So I don't know exactly what it is because I don't watch enough Bears games to like make an actual whatever opinion on it. But like I don't know what it is, but their quarterback. It seems like if you play quarterback for the Bears, you will not be crazy successful. Jay Cutler was really good in Denver. Went to the Bears and then he became like the joke of the team. But he's laughing now.
I loved him. I mean, he was what they should retire his number. I think no one should wear number 6 again. I think the Packers should retire that number.
Yeah,
Jay Cutler.
They really should. Like think of how many. And I think that like I know Jay Cutler has a lot of money because he got paid so much from the Bears, but I feel like Charles Woodson owes him a check. Like all those guys on the Packers defense those years that he just gifted just the easiest interceptions.
He was very Favre-esque in that sense. He would just throw up ducks, and you're just like, going against it was nice because you're like, all right, you just got to basically outlast the mistake. Just like Favre. I mean, if you stay on the field long enough, Favre's going to give you opportunities to, turn the ball over and take it the other way. And that was what was always fun about playing Cutler. You're just like, all right, when is it? When is it coming? Because he's due for at least one every game.
Oh, yeah. And I remember defensive players saying that about Favre. Like, during then. They're like, yeah, he's great, but he's going to throw 3 to us. We just got to catch him. And,
right. and Favre put as much on it as he could to make it hard for anyone to catch him. But Man, it was so frustrating. You know, the thing I love about Rodgers, and Rodgers gets grief for being too conservative, and I get you can be, too far on that side of the spectrum. But when Rodgers pulls back to throw it deep, I don't have that like pit in my stomach feel as I did when Favre. Like when Favre talked back, I was like, all right, well, we're punting here. Like the odds of this being complete, especially towards the later part of his career when I really started watching football, it just seemed like he was just throwing ducks up and hoping for the best at that point.
Oh yeah, there was some like I always say like, dude, they're just like we don't punt, so it's third down. We're gonna throw a Hail Mary here. Favre is just gonna sling it, and we might get lucky. But if he throws a pick, then it's the same thing as a punt. Yeah. No, I loved Favre, but like he had some miraculous throws too. Like he would zip it triple coverage, and the guy would catch it, and we touchdown or whatever. But yeah, he was always. Your heart stopped a little bit. When Rodgers chucks it up like that, I don't feel that because I feel like Rodgers is going to throw it to where no one's going to get it or his guy's got a shot.
Definitely. That's what's nice about watching him. And when it is an interception, right? He throws it deep and it's an interception. You're like, okay, I'm just waiting for that flag icon to hit the bottom because he caught 12 guys or something there. And then usually it just does, flag. Okay. 12 guys. All right. That's why he did it.
I think he's so ridiculously good about that is like knowing when someone they got 12 guys in the field or offsides. Like, dude, you watch so many different NFL games and someone will jump off sides and they throw a screen. And it's like they just keep running that same play. Like they don't have it set up like the Packers.
We just played someone who did that earlier this year where they got a free play and he literally threw for a 2-yard check down.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, like if you're not going to take advantage of the opportunities you got, I guess, but Rodgers would never. I mean, Rodgers is hucking that thing 70 yards.
Yeah.
If he can.
Yeah, he's chucking whoever's the fastest runner.
I think it goes back to them practicing for that too, because if they jump, all the receivers just go vertical. Where a lot of these other teams you watch them and it's a free play, and literally the quarterback, no receivers do anything other than their normal route.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like if they're not paying attention or they just don't have that in their game plan, they don't practice for that. But yeah, like you said, they've been doing that since Rodgers, like before he was a starter, with these guys that were coming up, and they would just like screw around. I think he was talking about.
Well, I think they changed the rule because Rodgers was taking advantage of it so much. I mean, isn't that one of the reasons why now when you substitute a player, the ref makes sure that the other team gets a substitution as well?
Yeah,
because the Packers would force substitutions, and then when they would try, they would just do a quick snap.
Yeah, and then the other one is when they jump, they blow the whistle more now. They don't give them. They still give it to them once in a while, but if they come too far, like that always is the rule. If there was like gonna hit the quarterback or whatever, but now it seems like they trim that up so that if they get any type of good jump, that they just blow the whistle. I've noticed that a lot this year and Rodgers is complaining about it to the ref that they blow that whistle when like years past that they weren't doing that.
Right. Yeah, if you're unabated to the quarterback, they blow it dead.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, man. So
everyone, we got questions or what? How do we end this thing?
Usually I have some questions, but I don't see it.
Yeah,
let's see what this one is. I can't read that. What's it say? I can't
you want me to read it?
Yeah, I got it. I can't stand when they blow some of those penalties. Yeah, dude, that is one thing that really irritates me. Is like I said, when they blow it dead, when the guy is not like in Rodgers' face, then I don't know. To me, that ruins it. It ruins the game. Like I want to see those free plays, even if it's not for the Packers.
Yeah, I'm surprised they do that because free plays is going to be a increase in quote unquote action, and the NFL wants to create as much action as they can. So why, if they're not right in the quarterback's face, why don't you let it just play out and see what happens?
And it's strategy. Like if you are that good that you can make something happen out of that, then I don't know. I think you deserve a free play.
I would agree with that.
But so everyone check out Ben, the Green Bay guy, on Facebook.
No, it's not worth it. Don't.
The Green Bay guy on Facebook, Instagram. I don't think you're really on Twitter anymore, but
no, I'm hardly on any social media as much anymore, man. Oh, Tim, shout out Tim. I'm finally reading some questions here. Tim is my coffee dude, one of the coolest people I've gotten to meet personally from my page. He asked, "What's in my thermos?" Any guesses, Matt? What's in it?
Something healthy.
It's water. It's just water.
Yeah.
I
consider that
boring.
healthy. I'm fat, so that's healthy to me. All right.
I'm boring.
Don't drink water.
But Tim is my fellow coffee snob. Him and I talk coffee for a fair amount. So,
all right. Yeah. So you got a question here. Question for Ben.
When am I coming back on Twitter? Never. I don't ever plan on coming back on Twitter. Twitter is too much of a, I don't want to say a cesspool, but that's how it very much feels. Yeah, I definitely do miss Duke's inspiring messages every day. I do have a burner account, but I only use it to follow like NFL news. I don't creep on anything.
And me, of course.
Nah, I don't even follow that. No, I mean, on my regular Twitter, obviously I do, but I log on to it periodically just to see what people are up to, but I just kind of lurk in the background a little bit. But, so Matt and I actually met on Twitter. I don't know how many people actually know that, but back in 2010?
Yeah.
I think you were my second person that followed, or you were the second person that followed me. Or, yeah, it was. Or something.
It was like when I very first got on Twitter, I think you were one of the few people, at least for sure, that I started talking to. Yep. I don't remember exactly because that was a long time ago.
Yeah, and then we tweeted for like we follow each other and talked on Twitter for probably a decade before we met, maybe 8 years before we met. I mean, I used to love Twitter then. Twitter was so fun then. It wasn't. Everyone online just wants to argue and fight about everything now, and it's so exhausting to me. Where back then it was just like, hashtag team tweet all night, and you would just hang out and bullshit all night. You, me, Clayton, Peyton. I know there's some other people, and I know I'm neglecting some names, but that was just so fun to me. And now when I go on Twitter, it's just not there. Like it.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of drama. There's good, but it's not like how it was. Like back in the day, dude. People used to ask me like, "Don't you sleep?" Because I worked at night, and I'd be on Twitter all night.
Oh yeah.
And then I'd come home, and I would hardly sleep because I was talking to people on Twitter. And there's so many people to talk to. I started talking to Crabtree there. Like Twitter was like it back. It was
a lot of fun. I mean, social media in general was so much more fun. And now that I'm getting older, like I don't have a personal Facebook anymore. I have my Facebook page, but I don't post hardly what I did a year ago or 2 years ago. I have an Instagram, but I don't really do a whole lot on there anymore. It's just, I don't know. Social media is just it's so bizarre, man. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what it is. It might be, so. But
it's not for everybody. Like my wife doesn't really mess with social media. She deletes it, then she'll bring it back if she's drinking. But,
yeah, and the funny part is I have a marketing degree, and that's like what marketing is. But now it probably is because I'm getting older. I just like, dude, this is just a waste of my time.
Yeah, I
love that I'm ragging on social media as we're streaming on all social media.
I love it. I love I'm still doing like Facebook to me is like super fun. Not my personal page, but talking to like all the people that are commenting here who tuned in. What's up, Drew? And
Drew,
there's like to me it's fun. The Instagram is still fun. I haven't really been on a lot lately because of my work has been crazy lately. But I still love the social media, Twitter, like all there's a lot of cool people that I met there. But we're gonna wrap this thing up, people. I appreciate y'all tuning in. If you didn't catch the whole thing, I'm going to have it on my podcast tomorrow on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to listen. And if you're listening on my iTunes and Spotify right now, you should subscribe on YouTube so you can watch the video. See how I do that?
There you go.
I appreciate y'all tuning in.